Hello and welcome to the Empower Hour. I hope you all are doing well out there in this still winter weather. It's rainy out here. Hopefully, you got some sunshine where you're at. But today, we're going to be discussing something that is important to everyone, and it's learning to be happy again. How do you get back to happiness? It can seem very elusive when life takes such a dramatic turn. Learning to be happy again. What's the route? What's the pathway? What's the journey to being happy? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss things that might make us unhappy, might make us feel depressed, hopeless, and we're going to go through those things and then we're going to talk about the solution to those things. It's sad how much we see depression with people who leave a religion like that. It's sad how much we see people who are absolutely suicidal sometimes. I've dealt with so many people who just felt like there was no hope. And when we're feeling a sense of depression, normally that's because we can't see light at the end of the tunnel and it seems hopeless. And as long as you see light, you can keep moving forward. But when you see no light, that becomes hard. So many times you're just lost in a world you don't understand. And we're going to talk about some of the things that have us there, have us feeling like that. Well, one thing is when your belief system is turned upside down, you don't know how to look at the world. It's hard for people. It was hard for people when they thought the earth was flat and found out it wasn't. It was hard for people whenever a worldwide view, your view of things is challenged or broken. The witnesses gave us a way to see things. They not only taught us what to think, they taught us how to think. So when you shatter that, that's tough. That's tough for anybody. You don't know what to believe. You don't know which way is up. A lost belief system is major because you've cracked your belief. Like a lot of people can leave the doctrine behind, but your programming and the way you look at the world and the way you look at yourself remains because the subconscious mind is programmed through repetition. So, through all those years of repetition, you have a way of looking at the world and trying to move forward in the world and try to fit in with the world with the way you're wired and programmed is almost impossible unless you change it. I like to say this a lot. It's like going to, being from America, going to Europe and trying to use our electronics. It won't plug into the sockets because the sockets are different. We need an adapter. So we need a mental adapter to really get on with our lives and to fit in with the world. Another problem when we leave the religion is we can feel no sense of purpose because we really didn't live our purpose. We spent years living a purpose that was given to us by the religion. We were told what was important. A lot of things that were in our heart, a lot of things that we had a desire to do, a lot of things that we had the talent to do, we were told was not important. So our sense of purpose was supposedly going out there preaching the good news, saving lives, and all that stuff. Your sense of purpose is appearing to be a certain way amongst these people, being really enthralled in their activities. And then you leave the religion. Okay, what do? You got this massive gap. What do you do with all the time that you suspended field service and study? What's your purpose? Why are you here? Again, when you leave your belief system, you can lose your sense of purpose too. Why am I here? Am I just here to exist? What makes me different from the animals? Animals just eat, mate, and sleep. That doesn't sound like a fulfilling life for most people. Some people it might, but for most people, that doesn't sound very fulfilling. Why am I here? You were told you were here to attain this new world. You were given your sense of purpose. That's hard to lose your sense of purpose, to feel like you're just existing. Most of you're not here to check in and check out of a job 40, 50 hours a week and just survive. What am I supposed to be doing with myself? Again, that's something that gets people really down and depressed, is just not knowing why they're here, having no sense of purpose. Another thing that gets people down and depressed is losing your community. That is the biggest thing the witnesses hang over your head, is community. And you don't want to lose your community. And when you lose your community, where do you go? You see, when you were a witness, you didn't learn how to make friends the way other people make friends. You had a accepted community. If you moved from one place to another, one city to another, as soon as you went to the Kingdom Hall and got to know people, you had 100 new friends, supposed friends. Well, I'm here to tell you they weren't your friends, they were your comrades. There's a difference between friends and comrades, but it's okay. It was a community. This is, Sunday. You had somewhere to go if you wanted to. You could easily, have people go with you to lunch after the meeting. You could easily have people over for a little gathering at the home. I mean, community is a wonderful thing. It's the best thing that the witnesses got going on for themselves. And they hang that over your head, that if you leave, you'll miss your community. You'll be cast out from your community. It was instant acceptance for most people. Not for everybody. Some people felt like they were even held out of that. But for most people, it was an accepted place to be. You didn't have to worry if you moved to a new city. You're not going to wait too long before you have a bunch of people that embrace you. Well, now you move to a new city, you got to get to know people one by one. The witnesses had you thinking that's a normal thing. That kind of community isn't normal. It's a wonderful thing. Like I said, it's the best thing the witnesses have going on, but it's not normal. Everybody doesn't have a community of people they've known since they were 10 years old, 40 years old. You still have the same friends. But that's a wonderful thing to have a community, right? Because human beings are creatures that, we crave community, we crave acceptance. We're social creatures. So losing your community and not knowing where to plug yourself in, that also can get you down and depressed and make you feel like there's no hope. Not knowing how things work when you're cast into a world that you kept yourself from. Your whole life they told you the world is bad association. You didn't engage with the world. You probably were like most witnesses, where people liked you, your workmates liked you. They thought you were a nice person, but you never really engaged with them. You'd make an excuse if they had a get together and invited you, or you might skip out on happy hour after work. You're keeping everybody at arm's length. That's supposedly worldly. And then now you're cast out into that world that you were keeping yourself from. You don't even know how it works. The world's going 100 miles an hour and you're standing still trying to figure out how to acclimate to this world that you rejected all your life. That's not easy. You don't know how things work. You don't even know how people make friends. How do you make friends? Now the holidays, we just got done with the holidays. How do you do this stuff? Oh my God. You got conflict a lot of time because you still have the wiring from being a witness, the programming, but you're trying to fit in with the world. You don't know how it works. You're trying to assimilate in all these traditions that the rest of the world is doing, and you don't know how to do it. That can really make you down. It could get you down when certain holidays happen. I remember when I first left the witnesses, Thanksgiving was a tough one. I was tough because it's like, for those in America um, who celebrate Thanksgiving, some other countries do have their own Thanksgiving, but that's a day where the whole world just stops and families all get together. And even when you were a witness, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Most of you had a turkey and a gathering on Friday instead of Thursday. Y'all did that. We used to do that every year, right? It's just a feeling of family. And I remember that was the tough one. Like, I was just at home with nowhere to go, and I knew what my family was doing. I knew what my ex-wife was doing. Everybody's, I lived in Hawaii. They're at the beach and they're having a gathering, and I'm watching all these families get together, and I'm just at home alone and not knowing how to fit in. Not knowing anybody yet, not getting any invites and all of that. That was hard the first couple of years. Yeah, that got me down. For those of you just joining, we're talking about how to get back to happiness. We're going to talk about all the things that kind of get us down and depressed first. Okay. Another thing could be lost opportunities. You know, when you're looking at your life and you've woken up and you're 45 years old and you look at all these opportunities that you did not do, the college scholarship you passed up, or the time in your life that you should have went to college, the job opportunity you passed up. Maybe you had to travel for this job, great job you passed up, the career you wanted. Some people had an opportunity to model maybe or do things that were just you couldn't do. Play sports. Maybe you're a great athlete, and you look back and you get down at yourself because time is flying by. The older you get, the quicker time goes, and you're like, "Oh my God, look at what I wasted in that religion. Those years that I really wanted to do X, Y, and Z. I had a passion for. That window's closed, and I can't go back and get it." And that might make you feel down. It might make you feel like, why am I here? How many opportunities am I going to miss in my life? What can I do now at this age? We can really get to you. Another thing that gets people down after leaving is shunning. It's the biggest one of anything, is shunning from their family. It's easier to deal with the shunning from friends, but family, that's unnatural. Friends is easier. Friends do come and go. You know, friends are a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Not all your friends are supposed to be there. I mean, we think so when we're witnesses, because witnesses are like that, but it's family. Family's blood. Family's supposed to be there. Family's supposed to have your back. And getting shunned is the most painful thing. Sometimes you're trying to have your family's back and they're not even allowing you to do that. It's unnatural. When my mother passed in 2020. You know how I found out? Facebook. I found out my mother passed when two cousins sent me a message saying Godspeed. My condolences, Rodney. I woke up to that. What are y'all talking about? I called one of them. Let me call you. What's going on? He felt so bad telling me my mom had passed and I didn't know. That's not natural. Not natural at all. So the pain of that, the witnesses try to blackmail you with that. They're not really concerned if you really believe or not. They're not. They just try to blackmail you to stay in for whatever reason. It's a numbers game with them. They don't care. It's a lot of blackmail. And fighting this blackmail can get you down because you want your family so bad, but you don't want to betray yourself. And that's what you do as witnesses. A lot of times you betray yourself because you're trying to play the game, to stay in the game because you love your family. It's natural. That absolutely will get you down. Another thing that gets people down a lot is what they've done after they've left. A lot of ex Jehovah's Witnesses get involved in different kinds of escapisms. What do I mean by escapisms? Well, you might get out and you might just start to party, just having a good time, just trying to run from the pain. Some may drink too much to numb the pain. Some may go down the road of drugs. Some may go down the road of just promiscuity, this no kind of discretion in that way. And then your life is spiraling out of control and you don't know how to get back. You don't know how to pull yourself out of that hole. The truth of the matter is, most witnesses don't have a personal compass of morals. You are following rules. You don't even know what a conscience is. Most witnesses confuse consciousness or their conscience for programming. They think it's your conscience or their conscience, but it's their programming. It's not your conscience. It's just what you were programmed. So when you leave the religion, you don't know which way is up. You don't know right from left. You have no personal sense of anything. So it's easy to get wrapped up in things. You know, um, Party friends, people who aren't the best for you, are the easiest ones to find. And that's why a lot of people go down that road. It's easy to find, barfly friends. It's easy to find people to go to the club with. It's easy to find those people. And sometimes you get involved in things that you don't know how to get back out of. And you can feel like, oh my God, I've left Jehovah and look at my life. You're getting judged because you're living the life exactly as it's supposed to be in the witness world, right? You leave Jehovah, you're going to do all these things. It's not that. What really happened is part of your programming while you're a witness said that if you leave the religion, these things will happen. Now, remember, when you have a programmed thought in the subconscious mind, you will create what that belief is. So if you believe that you're going to live this decadent life, or anyone who leaves Jehovah lives this decadent life, if that is a programmed belief, then that's what you will create. It's not having Jehovah's spirit. It's not Satan. It's none of that. It's you. It's you're living what you programmed yourself to believe. And a lot of times we get depressed because our lives are such a mess. And it might feel like being a witness was better. Because what it does, what being a witness does give you this, it gives you structure. But structure can come from a lot of places. The military gives you structure. Lots of religions give you structure. Lots of organizations give you structure. And a lot of times you mistake that for being that must be Jehovah. No, it's just structure. So these are things that we have to understand. We're doing it if we're stuck in those patterns. We're doing it because we're in pain and we're trying to numb pain. So again, getting back to what we're going to talk about when I loop back around on the solutions to these things, um, we have to learn how to find happiness and to fill the void so that we don't get stuck on running and escapisms. Another thing that can get us down is a doomsday way of thinking, a fear-based way of thinking. Witnesses teach us this. They teach us a doomsday way of thinking. The world is so bad. Oh my God, how much worse can it get? And when you're taught that everything should be seen through the lenses of fear, how can you have any hope? You're looking at everything with fearful eyes. There's no hope. They've told you there's no hope. The only hope is Jehovah, the new system. There's no hope. And when you leave the religion and you still are looking at life through those lenses, now what? Now you don't even have the new system. There's no hope and there's no new system. Oh my gosh, what is there to look forward to? Life sucks. Remember, life is whatever you believe it is. If you think it sucks, it sucks. If you think it's wonderful, it's wonderful. What do you want to believe? The witnesses always try to make you see things through the eyes of fear. It's in every magazine, right? Um, a better world is near, right? That's a magazine. Always trying to tell you that that's the only hope for mankind. And normally they have images that make you fear everything and then give you this hope. But now you've lost this hope, but you're still holding on to the fear. I have nothing. Of course you get depressed. There's no hope. But the truth is, life is what you want to believe. If you want to focus on the negative, you will see more negative. You will always see more of what you focus on. If you think there's no hope and everything's bad, you will identify more bad. You identify more things to match your belief. That's how your super subconscious mind works. So don't carry doomsday thinking. Sometimes we are down and depressed because we're validating the wrong people. We're still validating Jehovah's Witnesses. We still see ourselves through those lenses, the lenses of our family, when they preach to us, when they're being judgmental. If we see ourselves through their eyes, we're not going to be happy. We're not going to be seeing ourselves in any kind of positive light. We'll be stuck in a place of self judgment. We've got to learn to invalidate those people. A lot of people are stuck in depression or feeling down because they have no self worth. Where were you ever validated for you when you were a witness? You were only validated for what you were doing. You were validated for your service. You got praised for your service. When were you validated for you? See, people in the real world get validation all the time. Every birthday is validation. Every birthday is like today, we're all going to celebrate you. We're going to acknowledge you. We're going to appreciate you. We're going to give you love. We're going to shower it on you today. What did the witnesses tell you? Well, that's undue praise, raising yourself up like that. How is it raising yourself up when everybody has a birthday? How does it make you any better than anybody else? Everybody gets one, but you don't get that as a witness. You're not seen as an individual. You're just part of a collective. So how are you supposed to have any self worth? And you could double this for the ladies. Your word, your thoughts, your ideas, all invalid. If a man doesn't agree, it just doesn't exist. How are you supposed to have self worth? Some of you might be feeling depressed because the family gets broken up. You lost a mate, maybe communication with your own children. That's a big one. So, what do we do about these things that are losses, the things that get us depressed? What is the road to happiness? How do we get happy when we got all these things going on? We're going to go back through the list again, and let's find some solutions while we're here. Well, your belief system is upside down. Well, open up your mind to new ideas. If you've lost your belief system, don't look for truth. What's one of the first things witnesses tell you when you're trying to leave? Well, if this isn't the truth, then what is? Y'all heard that one? Maybe you're not going to ever find truth. Maybe as human beings, we're incapable of knowing truth. Every 100 years, we look back 100 years and go, my gosh, mankind was pretty ignorant. It's going to happen more so in the next 100 years. Can you imagine what the world will be like in 100 years? How do we know truth? There's only growth, there's only learning, there's only an ascension toward a deeper truth, but you're not going to have the truth. So stop looking for the truth and get hooked on growth itself. Get hooked on growth, not the truth. Why do the witnesses change everything they believe every few years? Because there is no truth. They change things because it's proven wrong. As time moves on, all your predictions, it's all wrong. Because there is no truth. There is just learning. So open your mind up to growth and learning and stop trying to put everything in the box of what you already believe. And that's what witnesses do. They reject anything that doesn't fit what they already believe. They're just looking for things to validate their belief. Open your mind and enjoy the journey so you can have a belief system that resonates with your way of thinking, and always be flexible enough to change your beliefs if shown a different way, something that proves it false. You should shown proof of something else. Enjoy the journey. Get a new belief system that resonates at this time of your life. Don't just cry over the belief system that was lost. Sense of purpose. How do we address having no sense of purpose? Look within yourself and hear your calling. See the things that make you cry. See the things that you have a desire to help. Some people leave the witnesses and find out, you know what? Wow, man, I'm really enjoy politics. Maybe that's for some people, that's their thing. I really enjoy politics. I really enjoy watching how this all works. I really enjoy being a part of this. So if you enjoy that, be a bigger part of it. Go vote. Be a part of supporting a candidate if that's your thing. Some people like really loved music. Like you are always maybe the person that performed music at the gatherings and the weddings, and they'd ask you to sing or perform something, and that's witness how do little talent show type things. Well, get deeper into that. What's your calling? What's in you? For me, it was being a speaker, being a motivational speaker. It was a calling in me. What's in you? And it doesn't have to be showy things that are on stages. It could be very simple things that you can really get into. Maybe you're at the time of life where you're supporting your kids or your grandkids in their dreams, and that gives you a sense of purpose. But get into something. Maybe it's volunteering, just working at the soup kitchen, or feeding the homeless. Give yourself a sense of purpose. The bigger your purpose, the less you will worry about what you've lost. I'm going to say that again. The more dialed into your purpose that you are, the better you will deal with the things that you are losing. Everybody has a calling. You have something in you. You have something that makes you cry when you see it on TV. Something that makes you cry. What is it? You have something that gives you great joy when you see it or you experience it. What is it? Maybe you're funny. You want to be a stand up comic. Well, go to some open mics and go do it. Go pursue something. The more you're pursuing something, the better you're going to do. We have people in this group that will inspire you. I'm going to start interviewing them again, but watching people go on their journey for whatever inspires them. I think we get so used to the word no when we're a witness that we just start not believing in ourselves. Go for it. What was the Nike slogan before? Just do it. Next problem we talked about is not knowing how things work. Not knowing how things work. Then go find out. Don't be afraid to just ask people. Most people aren't like witnesses that we knew. They're not judgmental. Tell them about your past. Well, I was raised this way and I was in this religion, and ask people. Get involved, ask questions, do things, go to networking events. Watch how people work. Watch how people work. Don't be afraid to be the person learning. It's like when people come from a different country and they're immigrants. They're okay being a little bit ignorant until they see how this country works. Don't be okay. Don't feel like you got to pretend. Just be okay with your whole history. Other people are okay with you. And slowly, you'll learn how things work. Be patient as you're learning. One thing people lack in qualities most time is patience. Patience. Don't get frustrated. Most things take patience. Your lost community. How do you deal with that? Well, understand this when it comes to community, that community is not that's not a natural thing. The way we were as witnesses isn't natural. Most people don't have a community like that except Mormons and Scientologists and high control religions. It's not normal. People have a community when they're in high school and they go to college, and most of those people change out. They got their college friends and they graduate college, and most of those people change out. Now they got their, people from work and the neighborhood where they live, and those change out when they move. People are really adept at making new connections with people. We have to learn to do that. Embrace your next door neighbor, have them over, get to know the people next to you. Just start small. And remember, communities usually come from places, it comes from things that you're associated with. So, a church. So, those of you who maybe joined another church, maybe you got a community at that church. Some of you may have joined things like Kiwanis Club, a Rotary Club, a Lions Club, where you have a community there. It's when you involve yourself with something. So if you're looking for a community, you got to get involved in something. You got to get involved in something that brings people together. And it's not a bad idea. Meetup.com is a great place to find people who have similar interest, and you can meet up with them every week or every month or whenever they have their meetups. Use it. That's one way to find community. Other than that, what you're really looking for is two or three or four good friends. Most people only have that, and that's natural. With witnesses, we had this false illusion of having all these friends. We used to call each other the friends. Those weren't your friends; they were your comrades. Friends get closer to you in your time of need. Comrades run from you when they need you, when you need them. Witnesses, when you're going through struggle, they abandon you. They don't get closer to you. Those are not real friends. They're comrades. Lost opportunity. How do we handle it when we are down and out about lost opportunity? Well, the more we are worried about the windows behind us that have closed already, some things have a window, a shelf life. Windows open and close. But if we're worried about the windows that have closed, we're not even seeing the window that's open in front of us right now. And what happens when we're so concerned about the windows that are closed? Now, this window's also closed. You have to concern yourself with what you can do now. If you look at life the right way, even the bad things that happen in your life will turn around and serve you. What do I mean by that? Well, one of the things I'm most proud of the different things I've done in my life is the effect I've been able to have with this community here with ex Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, could I do this work if I wasn't a witness? No. So I've made what was a negative something positive. So being a witness actually, having been a witness, excuse me, actually serves me today, where I get to do these things like what I'm doing here, and I get to help all of you. So my past isn't something I regret. It is what it is. It is what it is, and I use it for a positive purpose today. Shunning of family. How do we turn that around? How do we change the story on that so that we can find a happy life? That's a tough one. This is not an easy one. The loss of family is not easy. But we've got to tell ourselves a story that makes it bearable. And I like to tell myself the story that I am the trailblazer, that I am of my family the one with the courage to go first, that I am the one that will help other family members as they come out. You know, some of you saw a post I put up um, this last week about two cousins who saw my YouTube videos that didn't even recognize me because I hadn't seen them in so long. So how cool is that? That I get to help these people that are actual family members of mine, and I've grown close to them now. Right? They both woke up, and I think that of other family members that I just have to go first, and that it's the special people, the people who have that boldness and the courageousness to go first, that are there helping their family on their way when they wake up. So that's a story I tell myself. How it's going to play out, I don't really know, but I tell myself this story so that I can deal with family shunning. I tell myself the story that listen, oh, I'm courageous. I'm different than most of you. Most of you could never even question your beliefs, and that's not me. I'm stronger, bolder, more courageous than all of you. I'm of a higher consciousness than all of you. That's the story I tell myself, and I want you to start telling yourself that story too, and accepting things you can't change. There's things in life that suck. You've got to understand what you can control and what you can't control. You've got to accept it. You know, last week when I was in Dallas with the conference we had, I went to go visit a good friend of mine, one of my best friends from when I used to live in Maui, and he had a stroke. And it's it was hard to digest for me, right? Watching this guy that was so strong and vibrant struggle to even pull himself up with one hand because his left side of his body's dead. He didn't ask for that. It's life. Somehow, some way, he's got to find happiness in that challenge. Somehow, some way, he's got to find a way to create purpose out of that. Life's not fair. I'm going to say that again. Life is not fair for anyone. Now, would I trade out the fact that I was a Jehovah Witness and have to put up with some of the things that come with leaving the witness for his situation? Oh, hell no. Hell no. So put your challenges in perspective. And I know even worse stories than that people have and did not ask for. Life on planet Earth is challenging by design. This is a earth of duality. There's the opposite of everything. And if we live a long enough life, we will face challenges. You know, I'm dealing with a good friend from high school. I love her to death. I've known her for a long time. Her husband just killed himself. He had long COVID, couldn't stand the light. It just messed with his head, killed himself. And I'm watching her deal with that coming home from work. And I was the first person she called. It was 6 in the morning my time, 3 a.m. Hawaii time, just screaming. And, I've been helping her through this. And just last week, she lost one of her best friends. I've got to call her today. This just happened. It's so much on her. It's really not fair. But that's life on planet Earth. And if we live long enough, we go through stuff. We've got to learn to accept the things we can't change. And while accepting the things we can't change, we need to be intentional about the things that we can. See, when we're so worried about the things we can't change, we're putting no intention and no effort into things we can change. And I've said this many times, we live either in reaction or we live with intention. When you live in reaction, you're not trying to control anything. You're simply reacting to what life is presenting you, and you're always behind the eight ball. You feel like you have no control, and that's when we get desperate and depressed. When we live with intention about the things that we can control, then we know exactly where we are, we know exactly what we see, and life becomes like a GPS because it's trying to get us to a destination. And even when we get off path, like a GPS, it's rerouting us back to get on our path. But we have to begin living with intention. And that's why I say all the time it does not serve you to be worried about the watchtower. It does not serve you to be wrapped up in your anger. It does not serve you to be looking behind you because you have no vision for where you want to go. And your life will not manifest anything that you want because your energy is in the wrong place and you have no vision. And that GPS is never turned on. So accept the things you can't change and try to make as much lemonade out of lemons as you possibly can. Being stuck in escapisms. Understand why you are taking that path. If you're stuck in escapisms, if you're stuck in doing things that are harmful to you, if you're stuck in addictions, what's an addiction? An addiction is when you can't stop something that is harming you or doing you no good. Understand that it's pain that you're trying to numb. So get to the source of what that is and be intentional about that thing. What's that pain? What's that void? What are you trying to drown out with alcohol? What are you trying to numb yourself out with drugs? What validation are you missing in your life when you're stuck in having a sexual addiction? All those things. Get to the root of it. Get to the root of it so you can stop running from it. Validating the wrong people in life. How do you deal with that? Don't validate them. I don't validate Jehovah's Witnesses, period. I don't validate people who aren't growing in life. I don't. If I've grown, if the work I've put in myself has put me here and this person's here, I don't validate this. You see, when you get triggered by people who are here, when you've become here, the only way you get triggered and when you bring yourself down to where they're at and you dance with them down here. You've got to lower yourself. When people trigger you by what they say, you've lowered yourself to where this now affects you. And now you're doing battle down here. If you keep your frequency, your vibration, you've grown here, then this stuff doesn't bother you at all. I don't validate Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't validate any of my brothers. I don't validate my dad. Doesn't mean I feel bad about them. I love them to death. I just don't validate them. I've outgrown you. I've outgrown you. I want you to look at witnesses this way. If you knew someone who mentally was 6 years old, had a mental disability, and they were a full grown man or woman, 40-year-old full grown man or woman, nobody can even tell anything's wrong by their exterior, right? You can't tell anything's wrong with them. And you walk by this person and they say something very rude to you, very condescending. You're shocked. And then you remember who it is. You're not mad at them at all because you remember they have the mind of a 6-year-old and they can't help it. Well, that's how I look at Jehovah's Witnesses. They're stunted. They're stunted in this fantasy world, in the new world, and their loving God is going to kill 8 billion people. That's just crazy. Just saying that sounds crazy. Our loving God is going to massacre 8 billion people. If you even come from that place, I can't validate anything you say. It's madness. It's all madness. So I don't validate them. So stop validating them so they don't trigger you anymore. They become like the adults on Charlie Brown. Remember the adults on Charlie Brown? Wah, 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 wah. They didn't even exist to Charlie Brown and his crew, right? They invalidated everything adults say. Having zero self worth. How do you address having low self worth? Telling yourself a different story. Because if you're telling yourself a story that's small, that has you feeling worthless, it's just a story. You could not even validate it to me if you wanted to. But listen, if you're telling yourself a small story, you're going to live a small life. All of you want an amazing life. And the only way you're going to have an amazing life is to believe you're an amazing person, because you can't have what you're not a match with. You can't have an amazing life if you don't believe you're an amazing person. If you feel like you're a victim, you're going to have a victim life. You're going to have a life that matches that. So start telling yourself, yes, I am amazing. Yes, I am wonderful. Yes, I do add value to people. Yes, I am a nice person. Yes, people do like me. Yes, I am talented at this or that. Whatever it is, you've got to own it. You've got to believe it, because everyone, that is your birthright. Owning who you are and owning all those positive things is your birthright. Do not take that away from yourself. A loss of a mate. That's hard. That's hard. I would say work on it as much as you can if possible. If it's possible to get that person to see you separate from the religion, do it. If you made a commitment, try your hardest. But if it's hopeless, understand it's hopeless. If someone has put their religion above you and doesn't is looking at you as the enemy, and it's hopeless, for some of you it already broke up, it's already gone, and you might be depressed about that. Well, understand there's something greater for you, that now you get a chance to experience true love. Most of you got married to somebody before you even knew what love was. You got married to somebody because you were trying to stay out of trouble. Understand that the world is open for you to create a life that is in alignment. And as sad as the losses are for some of you, that has to even deal with your children, just trust that if you thrive, you're giving a better chance to wake up those people that you might have this gap in a relationship for a moment. I mean, even for me, I've been divorced for 14, 15 years. Forget how long, maybe 15 years. I have this fantasy of even my ex-wife waking up. How great would that be to have that story to tell one day, right? But I gotta thrive. One day when that religion shows itself and it just does something so stupid that everybody starts to wake up, here I am in a place that's thriving, and I want you to be there too. So let's bring the panel up. This is a juicy topic for a panel. We got Jack, we got MP, we got Christine, we got Desiree, and we got Aubrey. Who wants to start off with a share? Raise your hand. Let's get this popping. Don't all jump at once. Jack?
Excuse me. Ah, great topic. Sorry, I just joined because I actually just woke up. But what I'm doing right now, I'm actually traveling with my cousins across California. Soon I'm gonna come to you, Rodney. Uh, and I'll tell you what, these two guys I grew up with, they were never witnesses. But it's such a difference because I remember when I was a kid, I would actually pray to Jehovah that he would postpone the Armageddon because I didn't want these guys to die. That's crazy when you think about it, right? Because we were like three musketeers. We always did everything together and we always stayed like at my grandma's place. It was awesome. Great childhood with those guys. But because I was a witness and they were not, in my head it was like, oh boy, what's gonna happen if Armageddon's gonna come right now? Like, these guys are gonna die, right? I'm gonna make it. It's just crazy thoughts when you think about it. Crazy. Now that I think back about it, now we're sitting together, we drink beer, and we laugh about it because those beliefs are actually crazy. But it's amazing how you could connect with these people like this because you're authentic. They're authentic. They know who they are. They're not hiding. But even though I was kind of authentic with them before, there were certain parts of me I couldn't even tell them. I couldn't be authentic with them because I couldn't tell them about what we really believe. And now your friendships, your connections with people can be so much deeper because there's nothing to hide. You're not hiding your identity as a witness to other person. You can just be who you are, and and that's priceless. You can't put a price on it. And when we think about, okay, maybe they'll get rid of the Shining one day, so many changes are being made. Even if they did, these people can't be authentic with you. They can't tell you straight in the face, that join my religion, or my friend's gonna come here later on with Jesus and cut your throat. They can't, they believe it. They actually believe it. They don't want to admit it, they don't want to say it out loud, like just like we didn't do it. But they actually believe it. How can you possibly be a friend with somebody who who thinks that soon you're gonna be killed so they can live in your place? That's crazy. Like seriously, when you think about it, it's crazy. So it's such a gift now to live fully, to live authentically, nothing to hide. You don't have to pretend, and your connections with people are going to be so much deeper. And at the same time, I think you're going to find friends much quicker and much easier because when you see the guy, you know he is who he is. If he wants to smoke, he's going to smoke. If he wants to swear, he's going to swear. If he wants to drink, he's going to drink. But with JW, so often they had a double face. They had one face in the Kingdom Hall, one face in front of Jehovah's Witnesses, and another one behind the closed doors, and another one with somebody else. But now it's like, okay, if this is the person that is, that's who they are. You get to know them for who they are, and at the same time, we don't have anything else to hide. So I find it to be so much more refreshing, and yeah, even the conversations are so much deeper now that we can be who we are. So. Yeah, thank you
What
for
what a,
this one.
what a great story, right? And I should have said that earlier also with family, right? Like if you lose your JW family, reach out to the rest of your family that you were holding at arm's length all those years.
Yeah,
They're looking to embrace you. They
100%.
they've been
100%.
sitting like years just like that crazy religion, like they wanting to embrace you and they couldn't. Like I've had that. I've had uncles and people that just got honest with me about how frustrated they were, right, with the part
Hmm.
of the family that kind of ostracized themselves. Listen. I did not meet any family. Of course, my family had moved to Hawaii, but I did not even meet a cousin till I was 12 years old.
Wow.
Not a cousin. Um,
Wow.
I probably, yeah, I did not meet my grandmother till I was 15, something like that. Yeah, it was crazy how much we were separated
What?
from family. So
Mhm.
embrace that part too, because they'll be looking to connect with you. And again, if you're looking for people to teach you how things go, family is a good place to start. So thank you for that share, Jack. Anyone else? Next share? Because I'm coming at all of you. So just go ahead and raise your hand. Christine?
Thank you. That's a great story. Thank you, Jack. It's how cool to be reunited with them and you don't have to worry about their their death or anything like that. Very freeing. I great share again today, Rodney. And I was laughing because I would have been that party friend. I would have been the one going to the bar. Because after religion, that was, and after that, I went to Catholic high school and then a Baptist marriage and divorce before I really started to figure out who I was. And so, after religion for me was that going the other extreme and partying and still feeling empty. But I love it because it was my path, to find my way back to myself and being able to really look at what is my purpose, why am I here, has really opened doors to figure out what do I like, what do I want. Yeah, just to feel that I can integrate myself, not based on what someone else tells me I have to do. That's probably my favorite part, is that I just get to be me and whatever crazy that looks like. Thank you. Oh, he's gone. Jumped off. Whoever wants to go next, go ahead.
Yeah, great share. I mean, yeah, I remember those days of just, yeah, running. I was running a lot, because I didn't want to feel. It was just so much hurt. So it was just I was just clubbing and just kept moving, right? But my life wasn't growing and my life was stagnant because it was only about pleasure or numbing the pain in this moment, no vision of anything. So again, no judgment. I mean, if you guys are, if anyone's stuck in that pattern for right now, no judgment, because it will serve you later, right? But just understand what it is. I remember when I got divorced, when I was getting divorced, I had a marriage counselor, and he asked me, he goes, Rodney, how old were you when you got married? I said, oh, I was 22, 23, just about to turn 23. He said, you're gonna act 23 again. And I'm like 41 at this time, right? You're gonna act 23 again. I said, no, I'm not. I mean, I was thinking, that's ridiculous. I'm not gonna act 23 again. He go, yeah, you will. Sure enough. But he said you'll wake up because you're not, and you'll see how stupid you're acting, and you'll grow back to your age pretty quick. He sure enough was right, right? So if you're going through that, just understand that it's the numbing of pain, and that there's better ways to do it. And when you're growing towards something, right, the emptiness is filled the right way. And that's what happened with me. So all those things are so far behind me. But don't judge yourself. That's another thing. Don't judge yourself. Just learn. Just go, why am I doing this? Why am I mean, one thing I learned is that when I was feeling empty back in the day, I would join dating sites because I wanted validation from women. I didn't realize that I would join dating sites when I had no business dating. My finances was messed up. My whole life was upside down, right? But I would join dating sites because I would get these messages, the ding, 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 ding from women, right? And what happened is I did that for a little while, and I didn't do it for years. It had been like several years that I wasn't on a dating site. And I'm not making a judgment about it. I'm just talking about me. And I was joining one again, and I caught myself. I go, dude, why are you joining this? And that's when I caught myself. I go, dude, you're empty. You're looking for validation from women because you're empty. And ever since then, I go, oh, I know what it is. I'm just trying to fill a hole that way. So see your patterns and see where you're trying to fill a hole, and then go, no, I'm going to fill this a different way, a fulfilling way. I'm going to get validation in a way that really matters. I love it. Next. But you see how we can talk so honestly? We couldn't talk like this when we're witnesses. Isn't it great? We can just talk about our story. I love it. Desiree?
Um, I think happiness in finding that space again, not only coming from, organization, but life comes at you so fast and so quick. Whether it's a loss of a loved one or, a divorce, even without the organization. Um, and I'll speak on that part is when you're out of that high controlled group and then you try to find your way in the world and you keep bumping your head and things keep falling down, you're like, well, do I not deserve happiness? Am I not going to find it? And one thing that is important is going back to your roots, going back to the times that you did feel happiness. What were you doing? Keeping a conscious mind of the daily thoughts that you have and perpetuate throughout the day. Keeping up with, your own self-care and well-being, whether that's taking a walk or eating healthy or exercising, those things will eventually bring you into a space of happiness and discovery. But one thing that has helped me, not only going through a divorce, but also being out of the organization for 10 years, is finding that family that you weren't able to connect with again. And that has been really joyous for me and helping me kind of getting back to my roots, because it makes you, you're reminiscent about the times that you were a kid or younger and you were happy and you didn't have this, you know, responsibility always. of like, what do I do? And, responsibility was put on us very early on as children. But um, I think that there was some times where we did find happiness. Like I enjoyed going out in service when I was a kid. But I had to break it down in therapy, and it was asked to me, well, what parts of that did you enjoy? And it was the fact that I got to speak to people when I found the confidence to do it. And so that's what I love to do. I love to be able to converse with people about ideas and about things that I'm passionate about, and getting that conversation started.
Yeah, good points. Good points. Yeah, look within yourself, and well, the part I like that you said, excuse me, is look at places where you can grow, right? Like physical fitness. That's something that's always in your control,
Mhm.
right? So if everything feels out of control, look at the parts of life that you can control, right? Because you'll be growing in at least that part. And when you don't feel like you're running in place in all phases of life, you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's some place in life that you're moving forward, and that's fulfilling. So wherever you can um, have control, use it and be intentional about that area of life. And your physical self is one. We always have options of how we're going to take care of our physical self. So wherever we can be intentional, we should be intentional. That will help us. Okay. Next. MP.
Yeah, so I love what you were talking about. These guys have a mind of a 6-year-old. That's just wow, that hit hard. And also too, when you were talking about the 8 million people, it's like ridiculous how we fed into that and didn't even realize how deep we were into that to really realize that or think that was even true or even possible. But I know for me, it's like I grew up back in the days with Karate Kid and Rocky and all that kind of cool stuff. And man, you're the best around. And it's just like I remember that flashback. So just recently, just like 3 weeks ago, one of my friends that me and him did fire walking together. We're a firewalk instructor. And I didn't really couldn't say that publicly because of JWs, but now we're fixing to do an event in the next 2 or 3 months. But what's really cool is that I don't have to ask permission. I don't have to think, oh man, I'm gonna get destroyed, or this may not be right. And I just joined the jiu-jitsu, karate, the self-defense, and wow, I felt like I was 6 years old again. Just like wow, I'm able to do this without no judgment, and it's really just protection for yourself when you're going to different places, traveling in different areas. If somebody tries to attack you, you got that protection that makes you feel better. Your confidence feels better. I joined yoga. That's a whole different world too, as well. Connecting with self and everything. All these things were being judged. Can't do yoga. There's an article, no wait, why yoga is bad. And so, it's really cool to have no filters, and living the good life and really, seeing being creative with our mind and our family and just growing without being judged. And it feels so good because people, it's like you said, it's just like you talk to the witnesses. Oh yeah, I went out in service. So and so's a pioneer, and this and this. I mean, it's the same thing over and over and over again. You can't share your wins with them. So with this here, it's unfiltered, and it's just you can live your own life the way you want and the way that you feel that feels good to you. And everybody's different. Everybody has different, characteristics and things they want to do. And, sometimes we go to thinking party's it because we didn't do it. And then you get to it and you're like, oh, this is not it either. But, as you get with the like-minded people, just like the event we just had over here in Dallas, that was phenomenal because we all collaborated and everybody has a gift. And the way you ended it, how everybody has a personal gift to give to the world, and it's selfish if we don't give it back because somebody's on their praying knees waiting for our story to help them. So yeah, I love the subject.
Awesome. You are so correct. I think we used to say no really easily to things and not even know why. Right? We'd have strong opinions about things we didn't even research, we knew nothing about, right?
Yeah.
But you going out there and engaging in life and just not saying it's too late, learning.
Mm-hmm.
There's a comment on the people watching. You have Cindy who says she feels ashamed of learning so late in life. Don't ever feel like that, Cindy. Remember this. Um, it's not. This is not just a XJW thing. There's a lot of people who don't grow and don't learn. There's a lot of people who decide that, okay, I've graduated college and they don't learn a doggone thing ever from that point on, right? There's a lot of people. So because so many people in society are not growing, and you go in most people's houses, you don't see a library, right? Um, then when you start growing, you will surpass so many people whenever you start. Doesn't matter when you start. Whenever you start, you or if you are a constant learner at whatever point you begin the journey, you will just accelerate very quickly. So don't tell yourself the story that it's too late. Don't tell yourself the story that you're ashamed, because that's a lot of people. You're going to be one of the rare ones if you decide to make learning a daily thing. Like, I need to learn something every single day. That's just a prerequisite. Every day I'm reading, I'm watching some YouTube video that's teaching me something. Just make that a part of who you are. And the way you feel today, in 24 months, I promise you, you won't feel that way anymore because of all that you've learned. Okay. So just get started. Don't get running in place telling yourself the story and having the window that's in front of you right now close also, because we get stuck in that story. Look at what's in front of you right now and hit it hard, and I promise you, you'll have a different feeling 2 years from now. Aubrey, do you have a share?
Yes. I think for majority of us when we leave, or anyone, just a traumatic experience in general, and for us is pretty drastic to lose a lot. And I think when that happens, our automatic thinking is that, you know, okay, we have to start over, which is true. We do have to start over, but from my perspective, you don't really have to start from scratch. You don't have to start from scratch, meaning that you have to, I believe you have to learn how to filter the good from a bad situation. It's like when you have a fruit and there's seeds, you have to learn how to just pick out the seeds and just leave the rest of the stuff that's not serving you anymore. Leave it, make peace with it, and let it go. Now, the things that are serving you, like those seeds, foster it. Foster. You can now you have the ability, because you have the freedom of mind, freedom of choice, to now really amplify those gifts and make it grow and make it flourish. Just piggyback on Desiree's comment about how she likes service. So that's something that you have to look back on. I think too, as a witness, it's all fear-based. That religion, that quote was all fear-based. It's not critical thinking. So how do you identify your authenticity in that way? But now I think we have to just give ourselves grace. And this is something that I'm always working on, is that now that we have this ability to really use our freedom of mind and critical thinking, we can now evolve our perspective, the evolution of our perspective. And the more that we can evolve our perspective, the more options we have. When we were witnesses, it was black and white thinking. It was yes or no, couldn't. But now that we are dynamic human beings, we can grow. We have we have the freedom to do whatever we want now. We can really have our perspective at a bird's eye view instead of a ground level view where it's just like black and white. We have the ability to just soar as high as we can go and have options and see, this is what I like. This is not serving me anymore. So let it go. This is what's serving me now. I can amplify it. So just for those who don't know who they are, just know that it's a process. Learn how to, I think the faster you can process your emotions and the more that you can use your critical thinking, just try to view things objectively, not from an emotional point of view. Don't try to relive the trauma, but try to view things from a very objective, like as if you were watching your past, like on a TV screen. It's easier to be able to make decisions and critical thinking that way instead of reliving your experiences. And the ones that you want to keep, amplify it. I didn't realize, if looking back, I was like, oh, I like talks. I like studying. And now I can study whatever I want, and now I can talk about anything that I want to talk about. So not every, I don't regret, you know, the experience that I had. It taught me, as it was very learning experiences for me. And now I have this freedom to really just really amplify the things that were serving me and make peace with the things that are not no longer serving me.
What I like about what you said, especially, is that, it's a process. So always enjoy the process. Don't get obsessed about the destination. The process is what makes you who you become. So, again, I'm looking at her comments. In these comments, I've always been a reader. You're on track. You're doing it. I think what's enabled me to leave is reading. Yeah, I love it. It's more about social life and not knowing how to navigate in society that I feel backwards. Okay, so the first step toward fixing any problem is the desire to fix the problem. Okay, so start there. Cindy, let's get in touch. Let's start working on this. Okay, so it's the desire to fix it. Any things have answers. Just remember that. Whenever you feel stuck about something, remember there are answers out there, so don't get stuck in the problem. We all have some issues. We all need mentors. I have my own mentors that I need from time to time. Okay, so that's part of life. It's a journey of growth. It's a process, and in the process, we become the awesome people that we are supposed to be. I love it. This was a good one, y'all. I enjoyed it. Y'all enjoy it? Good discussion, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So, wishing you all a happy Sunday fun day. Do something fun with your day. And remember, grow every day. Keep moving forward. Just grow. Don't worry about the destination. Enjoy the journey. See y'all next week.